A ridiculous announcement was been made by Kate Middleton and Queen Camilla. Her former butler, Paul Burrell, has delivered a bombshell that has the potential to finally throw light on the dark mysteries that surround Princess Diana's loss. This comes at a time when the mystery surrounding her death continues to captivate the globe. What is that information? We invite you to join us in this exploration, from the beginning of the problem to get to the bottom of what has been announced. The death of the people. Princess. Many people had an intense connection to Princess Diana, whether they knew her personally or were admirers from afar. The globe was captivated by her charming demeanor and kind spirit, which drew in countless supporters of the royal family. But on that fateful day, a tragic turn of events occurred. Many people will never forget the terrible catastrophe that happened on the evening of the 31st of August 1997. Tragically, a car tragedy in Paris claimed the life of Princess Diana, a beloved figure across the world for her generosity and compassion. She inspired many even though she was just 36 years old when she passed away. As she retreated from the relentless photographers, this tragic event unfolded. Dodi Fade, Princess Diana's boyfriend, was beside her when the tragedy occurred. Being the privileged son of the wealthy Mohammed Al Fayed, Dodi had a comfortable upbringing. On a particular night, they were trying to outrun the vigilant observers who had been following them carefully. The Ritz Hotel in Paris, where Princess Diana and Dodi Fade were staying, was owned by Dodi's father. Many people were curious about their romance, which had garnered a lot of publicity. Photographers and reporters were often scanning the area, hoping to get a good look at the couple. They began the day with a leisurely boat ride around the picturesque French Riviera, where they could soak up the sun and unwind. However, the obnoxious photographers spent no time resuming their invasive behavior upon their return to Paris. Their everyday life became increasingly difficult as a result of the relentless harassment from photographers. A sumptuous dinner was enjoyed by Diana and Dodi at a restaurant at the posh Ritz Hotel on the evening of August 30th. They were wary of the photographers posing outside the hotel's main door as they prepared to depart after their supper. In a daring attempt to evade the prying eyes of the media, they surreptitiously decided to use the hotel's rear entrance instead of the front. The paparazzi managed to figure out their plot despite everyone's best attempts and started following them the moment they departed. Henry Paul, the driver, escorted Diana and Dodi into a sleek black Mercedes-Benz. Our driver for the night was Henri Paul, a staff member at the Ritz-Carlton. A bodyguard by the name of Trevor Reese Jones was riding shotgun with them in the car. A calculated decision to have Henri Paul operate the vehicle allowed them to swiftly outrun the tenacious photographers. They were aiming to get to Dodi's apartment, which was close by. They thought they might finally find some solitude if they got to the flat fast enough to avoid the relentless photographers. The photographers were determined to get images of Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed, so they relentlessly pursued the car on motorbikes and other vehicles. Despite Henry Paul's best efforts to outmaneuver them by accelerating and reversing course, they remained steadfast in their pursuit as the automobile swerved through the streets of Paris. At high speeds, the situation got perilous as the car raced through the metropolis. A tragic turn of events occurred shortly after they entered the Pont de l'Alma-Tunnel. Henry Paul was involved in a terrible accident with a pillar within the tunnel after losing control of the vehicle. The front of the vehicle was destroyed and its occupants were severely injured due to the tremendous force of the impact. Upon arrival, rescue responders wasted little time in assisting those affected by the disaster. Dodi Fayed and Henry Paul were declared dead at the site of the collision. Unfortunately, none of them survived. In contrast, Princess Diana was found alive but in a severe condition. She was transported to an adjacent hospital without delay, where medical personnel worked non-stop to preserve her life. Princess Diana tragically passed only a few hours later from her wounds, despite their tremendous devotion. Trevor Rees-Jones, the bodyguard, was the sole survivor of the disaster, even though he too had severe injuries. The news of Princess Diana's tragic death traveled rapidly throughout the globe, leaving people in a state of deep anguish and shock. Tragically, details came indicating that Diana, the adored Princess of Wales, and her lover, Dodi Fayed, had died in a vehicle accident. The fact that a group of tenacious photographers riding motorbikes was hot on their heels became apparent. Many were startled and devastated by the sudden and unexpected death of Diana. The tranquil Northamptonshire countryside of England is home to Diana's family estate, Althorpe, where she was put to rest. On a quiet island in the middle of a tranquil lake is her final resting place. The place was carefully chosen by her family to provide a peaceful haven, shielding her from the prying eyes of others. The extraordinary acts of her beloved sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, carry on Diana's legacy long after she has passed away. They have carried on their mother's philanthropic efforts with all their hearts, giving to the organizations that meant the most to her. The unanticipated and devastating death of Princess Diana illuminated the perils of the constant scrutiny she endured from the media and altered the course of many people's lives. As time passes, her effect on innumerable lives is still remembered and treasured. Many hypotheses concerning her death have circulated regarding the events in that tunnel, but none of them have been proven. Many have wondered what happened that fateful night, until Paul Burrell, Diana's loyal valet, spilled the beans on the princess's personal life. What did Paul find out? I say we investigate it. Controversies surrounding her death. The first theory put out after Princess Diana's untimely death was that the driver had been drinking and was trying to evade the paparazzi. Nevertheless, a more complex tale started to emerge as time passed. There were rumblings of a more complex conspiracy, as some started to wonder whether the crash had been planned. The participation of influential persons was the subject of speculation, with some ideas even implying links to the royal family. A letter sent by Princess Diana is one possible explanation for the emergence of these conspiracy theories. This renowned letter, written in 1995, shortly before her tragic death, gained even more notoriety as time passed. Diana conveyed her concerns about potential danger in her written communication. She expressed concern that others wanted to harm her and even brought up the idea of someone arranging a vehicle crash. Upon reading this letter, the public was shocked and began discussing and debating the strange circumstances surrounding Diana's death. Nobody could shake the feeling that something more sinister was going on than a mere accident. The authorities' investigations confirmed the suspicions and speculations to be true. Diana's terrible demise was an unfortunate accident. That fateful night was the primary focus of the initial inquiry, which was spearheaded by French officials, discovering that Henri Paul, the chauffeur, had driven carelessly while under the influence of alcohol. Furthermore, it was noted that the automobile was being pursued by the paparazzi, which heightened the anxiety and caused Henri Paul to accelerate. In the end, the French inquiry connected these factors to the crash and rejected the idea of deliberate planning. But the conspiracy rumors kept going around. They appeared to gain momentum as time went on. The official account that the collision was a mere accident was nevertheless widely questioned by many. They were certain that there had to be another side to the tale. A fresh inquiry was initiated in the UK to allay growing fears. The many conspiracy theories that emerged following Diana's tragic death were investigated by British officials in an operation dubbed Operation Paget. About 7 years after the deadly tragedy, in 2004, Operation Paget got underway. For a long time, an exacting investigation was conducted. The mission of Operation Paget was to either confirm that the automobile crash was a tragedy or to find out what the reality was regarding the competing ideas. A thorough analysis of Diana's letter, the sequence of events leading up to the disaster, and the conduct of all parties involved were some of the pieces of evidence that investigators meticulously reviewed. Operation Paget's results were revealed in 2006. No evidence supporting any of the conspiracy ideas was found throughout the inquiry. The terrible accident was caused by Henri Paul's drunk driving and irresponsibility, according to both the French inquiry and Operation Paget. The photographers, who were piling on the danger by pursuing the vehicle, were also brought to light in the report. The investigation into the incident by Operation Paget concluded that it was an unfortunate accident and did not find proof of a plot to harm Princess Diana. Some individuals persisted in their conspiracy beliefs even after Operation Paget found no evidence of a plot, citing Diana's letter as evidence that she could have predicted the disaster. In addition, several parts of the disaster were questioned, including the protocols followed by the French government and the effectiveness of the rescue forces. The amount of time it took to get Diana to the hospital following the accident was the subject of one specific inquiry. The potential involvement of British intelligence agencies in the incident was also a source of uncertainty. Paul Burrell, Diana's faithful butler, had a pivotal role during this period. Even though Princess Diana was a public figure throughout her life, many facets of her personality remained concealed. New details on her private life started to surface after her unexpected death in 1997. Even her faithful butler, Paul Burrell, let go of a number of these previously unknown facts. Buying Diana's longtime companion gave Burrell a special bond with the princess. His exposure to Diana's private life stunned many and gave them a glimpse of the enigmatic character she maintained when she was alone. Her struggles and genuine self-expression in her off-screen moments were laid bare in these tales as well. The royal family first hired Paul Burrell in the 1982nd. He began his career with Queen Elizabeth II, but in 1987, he moved to the service of Princess Diana. Paul became known as Diana's Rock due to his role as her faithful helper and valued friend. This demonstrated how much she relied on him. Paul was there for Diana through thick and thin, sharing many private moments while also being there for her whenever she needed him. Despite the challenges of marriage, parenthood, and the constant scrutiny from the public, he stayed by her side. By sharing details about Diana's private life, Paul helped put a light on the profound isolation she endured. Diana frequently battled emotions of loneliness and isolation despite her immense celebrity. Paul remembered the times when Diana would tell him she was lonely and unhappy. Her already complicated existence was further complicated by the profound skepticism of her closest loved ones. Furthermore, he disclosed that her battle with bulimia, a serious eating condition, was exacerbated by her tendency to isolate herself. The enormous demands of becoming a public figure added stress to Diana's already heavy load of personal ties. Incredibly, there were still more surprises in store. Paul Burrell shed light on a significant part of Diana's personal life, the challenges she encountered throughout her marriage to Prince Charles. Privately, Diana and Charles' relationship was anything from a fairy tale, yet their lavish 1,981 wedding captivated audiences worldwide. Paul spilled the beans about Diana's marital woes. Prince Charles' intense relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles was widely known, and it deeply distressed Diana. Charles, Camilla, and Diana all felt like three people in their marriage, Diana said in a now-famous interview. This experience had a significant influence on Diana, and the discoveries that Paul made provided more insight into the magnitude of that impact. While Paul was talking about Diana's personal life, he brought up the fact that she had been struggling with mental illness. A serious eating disorder known as bulimia was something that Diana fought for a considerable amount of time behind closed doors. Even though she was a princess and had a public presence, Paul went into depth about the many ways in which Diana turned to food as a means of coping with the enormous amount of stress that she was going through at the time. She would occasionally have a great sense of melancholy and a sense of being entirely overpowered by the difficulties she was confronted with. The struggles that Diana was going through on the inside, which she had been keeping hidden from the world, were revealed in Paul's narrative. Paul lauded Diana for her unselfish personality, which she retained during all of her struggles yet never wavered from. She possessed a great deal of compassion and knowledge, and she was always looking for new ways to assist others who needed assistance. When people were ill or in pain, Diana would frequently go out of her way to console them, and Paul recalled instances in which she displayed such compassion. Because her sole objective was to have a good influence, she would frequently carry out her actions in a discreet manner, away from surveillance cameras and prying eyes. As an illustration, Diana notably traveled to see patients who were suffering from HIV/AIDS during a time when fear and stigma were prevalent. Paul made it quite clear that these excursions were not to put on a show. As Diana labored valiantly to ease their sorrow and loneliness, her real concern and empathy shined through and were noticeable to everyone. Even while Paul commended Diana for her empathy, he equally applauded her for her persistence and her determination. Despite the challenges she faced, she never wavered in her determination to stand up for herself and the values she holds dear. In particular, Paul reflected on Diana's resolute efforts to establish her profession, particularly after she had ended her relationship with Prince Charles. She had the desire to express her personality and voice her ideas, despite the constraints that were imposed on her by the royal family. Despite everything that Diana had to go through, she never wavered in her resolve to have a good effect on the world for the better. Paul regularly admired her resilience, particularly when she was confronted with difficult circumstances, and he had a profound sense of affection for this quality that she had. In the course of Diana's tender parenting of her two children, Paul was also able to observe the significance of the role of a mother. Prince George and Prince Harry are the two. It was highlighted by Paul that Diana had a deep concern for her sons, and that she never wavered in her determination to protect them from the stresses that come with living a royal lifestyle. Diana took measures to ensure that William and Harry had a typical childhood, even though they were regularly in the public eye. Paul related heartwarming incidents that exemplified Diana's unwavering commitment to being a loving mother. He emphasized how she always made sure that her sons were healthy and ensured that she spent quality time with them. The account of Diana's clandestine travels out from the palace to spend time with her boys was one of the most uplifting that was disclosed. Even though she was extremely busy and the focus of everyone's attention, Diana never failed to make time for her children. Paul participated in the planning of covert trips for her and the boys, ones that would take place away from the scrutiny of the journalism community. The fact that Diana treasured these priceless moments shows how much she valued her role as a mother above all else. In his book, A Royal Duty, published after Diana's tragic death in 1997, Paul Burrell revealed many fascinating anecdotes from her private life. A whirlwind of divisive opinions and debates ensued following the 2003 publication of this work. Some thought Paul had overstepped the mark by giving readers such intimate details about Diana's personal life, while others praised the book for being more true to the adored princess's character. Paul stated his desire to learn about Diana's real life and the challenges she endured as the basis for penning the book. He insisted that he was paying tribute to her memory and shedding light on the real her by sharing these anecdotes. Within his book, Paul also disclosed details about the time after Diana's death. He described the difficulties he encountered in coming to terms with the loss of someone important to him. Moreover, he expressed a commitment to protecting Diana's memory and maintaining the true essence of her existence. By sharing details about Paul's experiences, the audience was able to gain a deep understanding of the woman known as the people's princess. His personal stories highlighted the fact that despite her fame, Diana faced ordinary challenges just like any other person. Paul's decision to share details about Diana's private life shed light on the complex relationships within the royal family and their close circle. When the book was released, it prompted debates on whether Paul had overstepped boundaries by revealing intimate information about Diana. Some individuals within the royal household showed dissatisfaction with the book, resulting in legal issues surrounding the personal disclosures made by Paul. Paul stood firm in his belief that his motives were pure and driven by his deep love and admiration for Princess Diana to present her true story to the public. Despite his honorable intentions, some did not greet his disclosures with open arms. Nevertheless, Prince Harry has recently made a surprising move, although it may not be entirely unexpected. Since the passing of his mother, Princess Diana, he has not been acting like his usual self. Despite the pressures of being a part of the royal family, he is expected to keep his emotions private and not display any weaknesses. However, Prince Harry, the beloved late Princess Diana, and King Charles' second son, has boldly challenged these norms, leaving many spectators in awe. From his revolutionary work, Spare to the Candid Conversations, these moments signaled only the beginning of a string of debates that have stirred up diverse emotions among royal enthusiasts worldwide. How deeply does Prince Harry experience sadness and resentment? What inspired him to speak his truth now? Join us as we explore the recent moves made by Prince Harry that are sure to have a lasting effect on the globe. The memoir Spare Royalty is often seen with admiration worldwide. Viewed as a representation of tradition and elegance, it is widely understood that information within the royal circle remains private, and any breach of this unspoken agreement can have severe consequences. This was the exact scenario with the release of Prince Harry's book, Spare. Just the title alone hinted at Prince Harry feeling disconnected from his own family. On the 10th of January, 2023, a captivating memoir was released by J. Ho. R. Moeringer and published by Penguin Random House. Spanning 4 and 16 pages, this literary masterpiece is available in both digital and classic paperback formats, captivating readers worldwide with translations in 15 languages. What enchanting quality does this book hold to create such a sensation? How did the press respond to this remarkable piece of literature? Prepare yourself for an unmatched journey, unlike anything you've experienced before. Having Prince Harry narrate the 15-hour audiobook edition was one of the more charming parts. Notable television interviews supported the highly anticipated book launch. The title, Spare, alludes to the need for a successor and a backup plan to ensure the continuation of a family's estate. Harry delves into his formative years, the impact of his mother, Princess Diana's untimely demise, his tumultuous teenage years, and his time while serving in the British Army in Afghanistan in Spare. Delves into the complex relationships he has with his father, King Charles III, and elder brother, Prince William, illuminating the complexities and mysteries within these relationships. In addition to Harry's controversial wedding to Meghan Markle, a Hollywood actress who was not born into nobility, the book delves into his father's subsequent marriage to Queen Camilla. Their choice to withdraw from their royal responsibilities added another degree of intricacy. Although many were impressed by Harry's candor, others thought he revealed too much about his personal life. Despite the mixed reviews, Guinness World Records verified that Spare became the fastest-selling non-fiction book of all time on the day it was released. Publicity around Harry's partnership with Penguin Random House to publish his biography began far in advance of the book's July 2021 release date, when sales were expected to benefit various philanthropic causes. A reported minimum advance for the book was $20 million, which Harry reportedly got. After that, he shared the news that Saint Ebal would receive $1.5 million from sales, and Wellchild would get £300,000. Harry revealed in the summer of 2021 that he penned his memoir in his adult self, rather than as a member of the royal family. He did this by recounting his life's events, including the highs and lows, the mistakes he made, and the lessons he took away from them. By demonstrating that even the well-off had it tough, he hoped to demonstrate that we are more alike than we realize, despite our varied origins. According to Harry, Spare was completely honest and factual. A somber scene from the 20th century, when two young princes respectfully trailed their mother's corpse as the world beheld in shock and grief, was emphasized by the book's publisher. Many readers have also remarked on the memoir's wealth of profound insights, surprising revelations, introspection, and valuable lessons. After spending quality time with Queen Elizabeth II at the Platinum Jubilee celebrations in the summer of 2022, Harry rethought his plan to write his book, according to a January 2023 report in The Times. He ultimately decided to proceed with the release despite his initial reservations. In an interview with Bryony Gordon, Harry revealed that the initial version of his memoir amounted to a solid 800 pages, more than enough material for not one but two volumes. However, he decided to shorten it to around 400 pages because of some delicate subjects related to himself, his father, and his brother that he preferred to keep confidential. He was concerned that they might not forgive him if disclosed to the public. Harry explicitly stated that the book's intention was not to dismantle the monarchy but to uphold it. He felt it was his responsibility to enhance the institution for the welfare of future Spares, particularly his brother's younger children. Even after William explicitly stated that his children were not Harry's responsibility, Harry still held a feeling of duty. In his book, Spare, Harry delves into the speculation surrounding his paternity, refuting the claims that James Hewitt, not Charles, is his biological father. He theorizes that the rumor originated from the public's fixation on Major Hewitt's red hair and the tabloid's love for scandal. Recalling a moment when even Charles made a joke about the gossip, Harry was taken aback by the tastelessness of the comment. Harry compared his relationship with William to the dynamic of the heir and the spare, reflecting on the bond between his aunt, Princess Margaret, and his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. He expressed sympathy and discomfort towards Margaret, describing her intimidating gaze as capable of wilting any nearby plant. Remembering his days at Ludgrove School, Harry warmly reminisced about Miss Roberts, a matron who charmed him with her demeanor. In contrast, he playfully teased another matron, Pat, for her stooped posture and rigid stance that failed to impress him. Harry thought back to the day his father told him of his mother's untimely death when he was just 12 years old. He goes on to say that the thought of him and his brother approaching their mother's coffin in silence unsettled many grown-ups, notably their uncle Charles Spencer. Despite others' advice that William should go there alone, Harry insisted on accompanying him because he had faith that William would return the favor. For over a decade, Harry insisted that his mother was trying to evade the prying eyes of the media by remaining hidden. His brother William, he revealed, had also concurred with this suspicion. He went into detail about how, in his opinion, the government's probe into their mother's death was unbelievable and far too simple. He implies the existence of hidden agendas and cover-ups, as he wonders why the photographers and their employers were not held accountable. Furthermore, Harry discloses that William and he were influenced by other forces and ultimately decided against issuing a joint statement calling for the reopening of the probe. The day before the 2017 Rugby World Cup semifinal in Paris, Harry arranged for a ride that would take him past the tunnel where his mother had died at the speed of 60 miles per hour. In hindsight, Harry realizes that he made a poor decision that has only made his inner anguish worse. Harry writes about his encounter with a woman claiming to possess extraordinary abilities in his book. He admits that using cocaine for the first time at the age of 17 wasn't fun, but that it altered his outlook. Thinking back to a memorable party at Courtney Cox's house in January 2016, he reminisces about a wild night when he sunk some tequila and magic mushrooms. The result was a series of bizarre hallucinations that culminated in an encounter with the bathroom's trash can. News of the World editor Rebecca Brooks, who Harry says was hell-bent on publishing an article about his addiction that painted her in a negative light, is one of the people Harry talks about. On one occasion, he lost his virginity in a field behind a bustling bar to an elderly woman who had a passion for horses and saw him as an energetic young stallion. He isn't afraid to talk about this and other less than glamorous situations. When Harry was drunk and tried to cause fights at a pub, he vividly remembers the incident. As a result, he was promptly fired from the company. After that, he lost control of his temper and threatened to hurt his bodyguard, but the latter showed remarkable restraint. Harry causes a stir in the riveting novel Spare when he reveals that in 2005, his brother William and future sister-in-law Catherine playfully proposed that he dress as a Nazi instead of a pilot for a themed party. Looking back on their initial meeting, Harry remembers Catherine as more of a sister than a relative, and he remembers how much he loved their shared sense of humor. Reflecting on his time in Afghanistan, Harry recounts his experiences on 6 operations that led to the killing of 25 Taliban militants. He freely confesses that he failed to see the enemy as people on those operations, instead viewing them as movable pieces on a chessboard. Despite the high number of victims, he admits that he felt neither satisfaction nor guilt for the killings. Harry's relationship with Camilla. Curiously, Harry divulged information on the intricate dynamics involving himself, his father, and Charles' wife, Camilla. He said that although he and William had accepted Camilla into their life, it was with the understanding that their father would not wed her. But Harry witnessed his father's true feelings for her blossom when Charles decided to marry her. According to Harry, Camilla used him as a pawn in her complex public relations campaign to boost her reputation, suggesting that she betrayed their discussion to get media attention. In addition, he claims that Charles and Camilla worked together to take advantage of his 2002 drug addiction crisis by arranging for him to enter a recovery center, which would verify their relationship and make Charles seem good. Additionally, according to Harry, William feels torn and lost, since he is burdened with a great feeling of guilt for staying silent about their father's romance with Camilla. Since Harry believes Camilla was instrumental in his parents' marital dissolution, he boldly suggests that she could have been responsible for his mother's death. His recollection of their first encounter is less than pleasant. He likens it to the pain of an unexpected shot. Camilla appeared unconcerned since Harry was not her direct heir to the throne and so did not threaten her aspirations. While he was hesitant to say so, Harry did confess that his father was happy with Camilla. Sending well wishes their way, he couldn't help but wonder if Camilla's demeanor softened when she was joyful. If you found this video entertaining, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and watch the next video that appears